Hello, my name is Megan Chen, and I've been a practicing speech therapist for more than 25 years. If you have a child who's having difficulty being understood in school or at the playground because other children don't understand what he or she is saying, this video is to help you understand why. So I'll talk about why your child may be having some difficulties saying sounds clearly. You might hear mistakes such as, instead of saying lion, your child may say yayan. Instead of saying school bus, your child may be saying tuba, or other mistakes like that. So this video will help you to understand why, and then we'll talk about some general principles, how you can guide your child, and then at the end, I will give you 3 very specific, simple, and proven tips that you can use to help your child. Okay, so first of all, I'd like you to understand why your child may be having difficulties. There are 3 main types of reasons. One is that it's a matter of muscle weakness. Now, in order to produce all the different sounds, L sounds, S sounds, SH sounds, and so forth, you need to move your mouth in different ways, move your lips and tongue in different ways. So if your child has some muscle weakness, is not able to lift up the tongue, for example, he's trying to say lion or I like this, and is not able to lift up the tongue tip, it's going to be difficult for him to produce the sound correctly. So the sound may end up coming out as yike instead of like, or yayan instead of lion. Okay, so the first reason is some kind of muscle weakness. Your child needs to build up the strength in the muscles in order to produce the sounds. The second reason may be that, okay, your child has no muscle weakness, he's able to control the tongue muscles and so forth, but the difficulty is more to do with the coordination. It's a little bit like some of us who are not so good at dancing. There may be nothing wrong with your legs, nothing wrong with your hands, but you can't always follow the dance steps if you're trying to dance like somebody else. So it's more a matter of coordination, being able to control the speed and the accuracy of the movements. So what you might hear is at one moment your child can say lion or lemon, and the next moment it comes out as yemen, and then on another occasion it comes out sounding something like wayan instead of lion. All right, so the mistakes are very inconsistent. Now, the third type of difficulty is not so much to do with the muscles themselves, but it has to do with how your child understands sounds or thinks about sounds. So it's more of what we call a cognitive issue. So a child may not think that ending sounds or the sounds at the end of words are very important. So instead of house, he might say how. Instead of watch, he might say what. Even though you know that he can say the ch sound, and he's leaving it out. You might hear him say chair on other occasions. So you know that he can say ch, the ch sound. But at the end of a word, he might not think that, okay, being able to say watch, is very important. He would just say what, something like that. Okay, so to quickly recap, the first reason is more like muscle weakness. Second reason is muscle coordination. And the third reason is to do with what we call phonological processing or awareness, how well they think of the sounds. Of course, I'm just breaking them up into individual causes, and in life, sometimes you're going to find that some reasons overlap. So a child may have some muscle weakness and also have some difficulty in terms of thinking about the sounds. So when they leave out a sound at the end of a word like watch, it may be because, yes, he doesn't really think the sound is very important, but it's also because making the ch sound takes a little bit more effort for him. So it's much easier for him not to say the sound at all. There is one other reason that you want to be aware of, and that is that for young children, sometimes they may have episodes of hearing loss, not because of a hearing problem as such, but maybe because of intermittent fluid in the ear. Maybe they've had a flu or a cold, and there are some fluids What happens is that there is a tube between the nose and the ear, and in adults it kind of runs more at an angle like this, so even if you have a runny nose, it's hard for the fluid to run up to the ear. But in young children, especially those below the age of 3, the tube is more horizontal. So anytime they have a cold or flu, you want to check that they haven't had any fluids that run to the ear, and that's causing some kind of hearing problem. Obviously, if they can't hear people around them, it's going to be hard for them to imitate speech and get the sounds right. Okay, so it's obviously frustrating for the child and maybe for you as a parent if you're asking a question, maybe asking a question like, okay, what would you like to do for your birthday? And your child gives you, a few words and is trying to tell you what he or she wants, and it comes out as something like, oh, and you'll be wondering, what is that? And you have to find yourself asking 20 questions to narrow down, okay, what were we talking about? Is it something you want to have for your party and so forth? And you will be asking all the different questions. Okay, apart from just the fact that you'll make life easier if you take your child for speech therapy and help him to say the sounds clearly, there are a few other reasons why speech therapy is important. Okay, one is that yes, it makes your life easier, but secondly, even if you are a very patient parent and you're asking the question to slowly find out what your child means, your child may not be very patient. So after a while, it's going to be very frustrating for the child, and the child may actually decide to stop talking and run away and not want to practice, not want to tell you what he or she wants. Okay, another reason is that when a child is not able to speak clearly, quite often it's going to affect how he or she learns reading. When a child is learning how to read, they're learning about letter sounds. When they see a particular letter, what are the letter sounds that go with it? So how they actually read a word they've never seen before. Now, if you send your child for reading classes and the rest of the class is learning that, okay, letter S makes the S sound as in sun, but your child does not say sun and your child is saying tan. Now, he's going to have a very different concept about what the letter sound should be. So this is going to affect things such as reading and spelling as well. I have had students who are already into primary school, about 8 or 9, and compared to other friends who might be able to hear a word, if they hear an unfamiliar word, such as lovable. So their classmates might be able to hear, oh, there's a L sound, and they know that, okay, this word starts with the letter L. But for a child who's not able to say the L sound, the L sound correctly, he might not be able to think about lovable being starting with letter L, and he may, because he says it as lovable, okay, with a letter Y instead, he may actually spell it as a letter Y. So it affects how a child learns reading and might contribute to some difficulty in learning how to read and write. In fact, there have been a lot of research that have established that children with speech difficulties tend to be at more risk of having difficulties picking up how to read. And the figures range all the way from about 35–40% right up to 75% of children who have speech difficulties having reading difficulties as well. So it's good to make sure that you nip the problem in the bud and help your child to pick up the right way of speaking. Okay, so today I've covered the main areas why your child may be having speech difficulties, as in the sounds are not clear, he's leaving sounds out or saying them incorrectly. We've talked about why it's important to actually address it. Because, for some children or for some parents, you might think that, okay, when they're young, it's quite cute. They're not saying sounds clearly. Everything is, it's a rabbit, it's a wabbit. It's quite cute at a certain age, but when they are about 3 or 4, and their classmates are using complete sentences, and teachers can understand them, and your friends can understand them, and your child may be actually struggling, it's not really cute. And as I mentioned, there are other problems that it may bring about as well. So in the next video, I shall talk about when you're teaching your child, what are some of the considerations, what are some of the general principles you want to bear in mind, so that when we talk about the specific tips that you can actually execute, it will make more sense to you. Alright, so if you've gotten something out of this video, please like, share and subscribe. and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.